And a lot of people will say, Tank is too small. Let me tell you something. Anybody that gets in the ring with Tank that is not a damn dinosaur is gonna feel something from it. And it ain't gonna be easy to hit it. Got boxing IQ. He may not sound like an intellectual guy when you hear him talk, but he knows the ring inside and out.
In Florida, man looks absolutely amazing. Man looks like a monster. Man looks like precision. Jake Paul cannot take those body shots.
Oh, Tank's gonna kill him. Tank's gonna kill him because he won't be able to touch Tank. And then
okay. It's kind of like the Tyson thing again, though, right? Like when
it reminded me of that, but it also reminded me of like, oh, in barbershops across the world, people, or at least the country, people will talk about this and be like, oh, Tank's gonna kill him because he will not get hit.
The boxing world is in shock as Gervonta Davis steps into camp looking more powerful and focused than ever ahead of his showdown with Jake Paul. Recent training footage captures him unleashing explosive combinations on a heavy bag with deadly accuracy and intensity. Every movement radiates discipline and intent, showing just how locked in he is for this fight. A display that's left analysts praising his conditioning, mindset, and championship-level confidence. Analysts believe Gervonta Davis has a strong chance to win if he fights with intelligence and discipline. They stress that his key to victory lies in movement, ring control, and timing rather than chasing an early knockout. Tank's real brilliance comes from his patience and his ability to read opponents' rhythms. Experts argue that if he focuses on sticking and moving, Jake Paul won't be able to keep up with his precision and speed. While Davis is known for his explosive punching power, it's his defense and counterpunching that make him truly dangerous. Many agree that when he fights smart, no opponent at Jake's level can match his blend of technique, power, and footwork.
Can his speed and, his ability make up for that size difference, in your honest opinion?
Well, he has to be very smart throughout the course of the fight. It's hard to know in some things. I think Gervonta's just gonna stick and move. He'll be fast, play it smart, I don't see him staying still for too long so Jake can land some shots. He'll just try to touch him. Who knows, man? It's an exhibition. It's a money grab. Jake's fighting one of the best boxers ever.
Experts predict that Jake Paul is in for a harsh reality check once he steps into the ring with Gervonta Davis. They argue that Tank's experience, speed, and fight IQ are on an entirely different level from anything Jake has faced before. While Jake's past opponents may have been physically strong, none possess Davis's explosive timing or his knack for exploiting openings. Many analysts believe the power gap will become painfully clear once Tank lands clean. Jake's defense is described as raw and largely untested, whereas Davis's vast ring experience enables him to read and counter every move with precision. As a result, most experts see a knockout as almost inevitable, believing that once Tank connects, Jake won't have the stamina or defensive instincts to survive the onslaught, leading to a swift and devastating finish.
Tank Davis look crazy, bro. Chilaquiles. Gervonta Tank Davis hitting a heavy bag in preparation for his Jake Paul fight November 14th down there in Florida. Man looks absolutely amazing. Man looks like a monster. Man looks like precision. Jake Paul cannot take those body shots. You mean to tell me somebody who done fought UFC fighters and a man with Parkinson's disease can take a body punch from Gervonta Tank Davis, and y'all basing y'all logic just because Jake Paul is big? No, Tank's gonna go ahead and put this man to sleep. I'm telling telling y'all that right now. If Tank don't put this man to sleep, he done let the black community down, he done let boxing down, and he ain't never been that nice. You Tank fans, y'all trying to give him a pass. If y'all said Tank is as skilled as y'all say he is, if he does not put Jake Paul to sleep and stop Jake Paul, his boxing career is absolutely voided. He already don't care about legacy, and just imagine he don't knock out Jake Paul, and now y'all want to say it's not a real fight, it's an exhibition. No, we not giving no passes, bro. This Gervonta Tank Davis, he needs to put Jake Paul to sleep. I don't want to hear nothing about, Jake Paul too big. No, Jake Paul chin ain't never been tested by somebody that hit as hard as Gervonta Tank Davis. Tank should put this man to sleep with ease. I'll say that respectfully. If you don't put him to sleep,
a 2-pack of ass. That shit stinks.
That's a 2-pack of ass at the highest level. And it's a musty energy at the highest level. Get it together. Get it together. Tank looks amazing. That's the Chilla Killers.
Chilla Killers. Chilla Killers.
The issue of weight has become one of the most debated topics surrounding this matchup. Some argue that the size difference between the two fighters is too great to overlook, while others believe Gervonta's refined skill set will completely overshadow the physical disparity. Fans and analysts remain split. Many question whether the fight should even happen given Jake's noticeably larger frame. However, Tank supporters are confident that his speed, discipline, and precision will allow him to dismantle bigger opponents with ease. They emphasize that boxing isn't about size. It's about control, angles, and timing. Many also believe Jake's fundamentals are still too raw to pose a real challenge, and that Tank's superior technique will ultimately erase any advantage Jake might have in size.
It is happening. WBA lightweight champion Gervonta Davis, who's unbeaten in 31 professional contests, takes on the self-proclaimed problem child, Jake Paul, one of the most influential and marketable global personalities. Paul and Davis square off in Miami after doubts around the fight being sanctioned in Georgia triggered a change in venue. Neither fighter can weigh more than 195 pounds. The weight is perhaps the most surprising factor. Paul has boxed most of his career around 200 pounds, the cruiserweight limit, but did tip the scales at 227 pounds when he faced off against Iron Mike Tyson last year. Davis, much smaller in stature, competes at the 135 pound mark and has also won world honours at super featherweight.
And despite some discussions about possibly dropping down to 10 ounces, the pair seem set to wear 12-ounce gloves.
And in terms of distance, despite the exhibition tag, the fight will play out over 10 3-minute rounds with 3 scoring judges at ringside, but the result will not be officially recorded on their professional records.
Michael Bisping acknowledges Tank's incredible power and skill, but cautions that size is not something that can be completely dismissed. He praises Gervonta's ability to adapt against larger opponents, yet reminds that physical differences always play a role in any fight. According to Bisping, Tank has the intelligence and movement to outthink and outmaneuver Jake, though the weight gap could challenge his endurance and ability to absorb heavier punches. Still, he admires Tank's determination and confidence, believing that if anyone can overcome such an obstacle, it's him. Bisping concludes that while the size factor is undeniably real, Davis's technical brilliance could still be enough to neutralize Jake's physical advantage, provided he sticks to a flawless game plan.
Out there taking on Mike Tyson that's pushing 60 years old, for crying out loud, but at the same time pretending to be like this badass motherfucker, sending me DMs talking. He offered me a contract a long time ago, and I was like, what are you doing? I'm a retired fighter and I've got one eye. Why would I want to fight you? I wouldn't lower myself to doing that. I know a lot of people do that. They do lower themselves, if you want to say that, because of the payday, because Jake Paul is a big name. He is a social media sensation. He's a YouTube star. And now, of course, in the world of boxing, he's one of boxing's biggest stars because he puts on these spectacles like Paul versus Tyson, like Nate Diaz, because these are the fighters, these are the names that attract the eyes. Jake Paul is the B-side to almost every single one of his fights. When he fought Nate Diaz, people were tuning in for Nate Diaz. His last fight, against Cesar Chavez Jr., apparently no one watched that fight. Apparently the pay-per-views were ridiculously low. So this one's going back to Netflix on November 14th, and it's an exhibition bout. Of course, it's an exhibition bout because no athletic commission in their right mind will sanction this fight. There's just no way you can make this a legitimate fight because of the size advantage. Typically, this would be very, very dangerous, and someone could get really hurt. If Jake Paul was to swing as hard as he could and connect and wobble him and hit him many, many times and not knock him out, with the bigger gloves and the concussion possibilities and the brain rattling around inside the head, and Jake Paul just teeing off at him as hard as he could, it's dangerous. That's why fights like this can't get sanctioned. That's why this is a exhibition bout and not a real matchup. Now listen, they're both going to get paid tremendously. They're going to make a ton of money, and a lot of people are going to tune in and watch it on Netflix. Fair play.
Several analysts have pushed back against what they see as the unfair disrespect toward Gervonta Davis has resumed. They point out that many fighters who share the ring with Tank often gain massive recognition afterward. For instance, opponents like Lamont, who were relatively unknown before facing Davis, have gone on to achieve greater popularity and success following their bouts with him. Analysts argue this highlights Tank's influence and star power within the sport. They dismiss claims that Davis isn't the face of boxing, emphasizing that his fights not only draw huge attention, but also create opportunity for others. In their view, questioning his legacy overlooks how much he has elevated the careers of numerous fighters simply by facing them.